I was waiting for you to say that. Good morning, everyone. We are here at the July 18th City Planning Commission meeting. Before we get started, Marka is going to read the preamble and then we will call the roll.
In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinance of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conduct their meetings in a manner modeled after Robert's Rules of Order. Action during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Recusal from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everybody participating in the meeting has opportunity to be heard, we ask that online participants use their raise your hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise your hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute to announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located at the bottom of the WebEx screen. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube. All requests to speak on particular matters submitted through proper channels have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Proper channels for comments are listed below. Communications with members of this body must follow proper channels for consideration. Any comments received by Wednesday, 12 p.m. deadline are collected by City Planning staff and disseminated to commission members prior to any scheduled meeting. Also, calling users can use the unmute by pressing *6. Proper channels for public comment are sending an email to the City Planning cityplanning@clevelandohio.gov address with a comment or a letter. Calling and or leaving a message at 216-664-2210. Sending a letter or dropping off comments at City Hall, 601 Lakeside Avenue, 501, Cleveland, Ohio, 44114. The chair meeting rules and procedures. The chair will call each agenda item and then each applicant will be invited to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the commission in order to facilitate a smooth presentation. Once the presentation has concluded, the chair will ask planning staff to summarize design review advisory recommendations if applicable and any public comments received. Public comments received through proper channels by the deadline are distributed to commission members prior to the meeting. Staff will also identify any members of the public present and scheduled to speak. Public comment is allowed at the discretion of the chair, and any individual providing public comment is permitted 2 minutes to speak to the agenda items in which they have an interest. The chair will then request a recommendation from staff if applicable. The commission will then begin deliberations and project review. Any commission member, except the chair, may make a motion at any point after the agenda item has been called.
Right. Okay, let's call the roll.
Anthony,
Present.
Fluker,
Present.
Curry,
Present.
McCray Scott, not present, Sargent, not present, and Slight.
Okay, we have quorum. First order of business is to approve the minutes from the July 11th meeting. Can I have a motion to?
Madam Chair, I move to approve July 11th, 2025 minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
and Slight.
Thank you. Yes, we missed you last week. Motion carries. We had fun, but we missed you. All right, we do not have any zoning matters today. So the first item is a design review case in the Central Southeast Design Review District. This is 2025-026 at 6806 Harvard. This is a car sales lot with an office. We are here for schematic approval, and if you look at your agenda, there were about 5 kind of conditions on the schematic approval. Would ask, is Kurt here, Kurt Weaver online or here, anyone speaking to this matter?
It's possible no one was available. There was like a last minute delay, so we might just postpone this one to August
Okay.
1st.
That's fine.
Okay. Madam Chair, I move to postpone item CSE 2025-26, 6806 Harvard Avenue.
Second.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry.
Yes.
And Slife.
Next item is wayfinding, AsiaTown wayfinding. Didn't we just see this recently?
It's a different one.
Or is it a different
That
one?
was Murals.
Oh, that was Murals.
They
Yes,
mentioned this,
they
Madam
did.
Chair.
And this is for final approval. Is also Guide Studio but coming as well? Are they online? They're online. So I'll swear you all in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and I assume you're Kevin online?
Yes, Kevin
Okay.
and we have Molly, my
Okay.
daughter, also from Guide Online as well.
Okay. Is she speaking as well?
I don't know.
Yes. Sorry, I said yes, but I realized that I clicked.
Okay, got it.
I don't
Just
see any
wanted that.
faces.
Okay, I take it away. We have your slides. Once again, the only it was approved for final, but the condition was to submit a sign location plan. Okay.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. My name is Neeraj Nayak. I'm Director of Planning at Midtown Cleveland, Inc. I'm just here to introduce Guide Studio and this wayfinding sign program. We've been working on this for several months and have engaged in community engagement, convening a committee that helped us to translate some of our strategic planning and community desires into a plan for wayfinding signage and elements that will kind of continue to reflect the neighborhood's identity and add to some of the existing motifs and placemaking that we've already done over the past few years. I know last week when I was before this committee, there was a concern raised about how this wayfinding plan will fit into other wayfinding plans in St. Clair Superior and Midtown. So my hope is through seeing this presentation, you'll see that it is cohesive and that also it does a really good job of matching the neighborhood's identity. So thank you, and I'll pass it over to Guide Studio.
All right, thank you for that introduction. For the next slide. So our first page is just sharing the general colors of the neighborhood. We worked with AsiaTown and actually learned some fascinating things about Asian culture and colors within that. So these were carefully selected, not only based on their brand, but also based on kind of what they mean for the culture as well. So our first sign is on Payne Avenue. We're calling it a landmark, obviously, because it's sort of like an entry gate into the neighborhood. This will be placed at both ends of Payne, on the west side and the east side, as you're entering the neighborhood, since Payne is sort of the main artery of AsiaTown. And there's actually one on each side of the street, so it forms almost like an archway over the road. Obviously, they don't connect, but as you're going down the street, there'll be one on the right and one on the left overhanging the road. The one on the right side will say AsiaTown, which is their logo. So this is just it's really like it is a gateway element into the neighborhood, making a big statement as you enter. It is lit, and you can see that the yellow insets are what's going to light up. So it's not going to be this bright, Times Square type of sign. It's more of a subtle, just pop of light. And then on the sides, working with the group, they suggested that we add some of these, the calendar symbols. So those will be down the side of the structure as well. So outside of Payne, there's other areas, obviously, where you enter AsiaTown. So this is what we're calling our primary gateway, meaning it's not Payne Avenue, it's not the landmark, but we do want to mark other major areas coming into town. So this is a more simplified totem with the sun cloud symbolism kind of flanking each side. And then inside, we've translated different Asian languages in those rings. This one is not lit. It'll be reflective. The type will be reflective so that when headlights hit it, the AsiaTown lights up. And just to give you some contextual idea of some of the locations on where this will be, we purposely designed it vertical because we recognize that there's some limited space throughout the neighborhood. And then there are some more slower, less traffic oriented entrances as well. So we designed a bit of a smaller secondary gateway for those areas. So you can see this one kind of combines the motif of the larger gate, the Payne Avenue gateway, with the pylon to create this more like residential, slower road kind of entrance point. So this is where the sign program kind of fits with what's going on already in Midtown and what we proposed for St. Clair Superior. We worked on the Midtown program years ago to kind of establish a wayfinding standard for neighborhoods around Cleveland so that maintenance would be easier, so that the signs were constructed the same way, and so that there was a base for understanding that you're still in Cleveland, but it's a neighborhood within that bigger umbrella. So the idea was that the gray wayfinding panels remain consistent no matter where you are in Cleveland in these neighborhoods. And then each neighborhood has the opportunity to brand the sign using the header, footer, and the back of the sign. So I don't know how many people were here. I think it's the same group as what we presented for St. Clair Superior a few weeks ago, but you can see the consistency in how that is translated. And then taking these further from vehicular to pedestrian, we developed a pedestrian directional. AsiaTown does host a lot of events. Putting up some directionals that also feature some cultural information. So it's sort of more than just a directional. It's a directional that you can go up to, but also read about the history and the cultures within the neighborhood. And then introducing a banner program, not a cloth banner program. This is more meant to be a permanent fixture to help brand the neighborhood. So this is supplemental in addition to those previous signs we shared and some of the other, if you're familiar with the street toppers in AsiaTown, this is just a way to sort of bring some life and branding to the streets. AsiaTown does have a really nice mural exhibit. It's shown on the website that there's different places that you can go. So in talking with AsiaTown, we wanted to bring that element out into the physical environment so people understood, not when they're looking at a mural, that this isn't the only one, that there's actually a walking tour. So just giving a little bit of more information that, you're standing here and hopefully encouraging people to walk around the neighborhood and go explore these other murals. This one here is shown on a post. So if there's like a planter or something next to the mural, it can be post mounted. There's also a version that could be wall mounted if there's space next to the mural to wall mount it as well. And then in working with AsiaTown, and similar to St. Clair Superior, there are some vacancies or less desirable looking windows throughout the neighborhood. So we are providing an opportunity through vinyl graphics for either these vacant places or even business owners to kind of beautify their storefronts with these neighborhood branded graphics if they desire as well. So that's just showing, this is just an example showing how the graphic can be implemented. And then similarly, giving these development owners the opportunity to have a directory that can emphasize that they're in AsiaTown. This can be beneficial even from a marketing standpoint to tell people, you know, that on their website and stuff that they're located in AsiaTown. But it's a great way to kind of, again, bring some consistency to the neighborhood. So this is like just a very simple building directory that says you're in AsiaTown, and then each company can list their name or logo like a typical directory. So this is the family overall. You can see how it's a family of related elements, but each sign has its own unique purpose and looks a little bit different. So you know what kind of information you're getting from each sign. And then just sharing some examples of where our inspiration came from. You can see we're really not inventing something new as far as the motif. The cloud and sun is a very strong element in the Asian culture and has actually started to be established in that neighborhood. So we kind of just played off of that really to be consistent. And then just sharing the three programs together, the St. Clair Superior and AsiaTown and Midtown, you can see how each neighborhood has their own identity and their own character, but then in the wayfinding signage, each sign has a base that's the same and is constructed the same way to bring some consistency to the city overall. And that's it. And we do have, in response to the design reviews, comment about seeing the locations. If you're interested, we have a location plan we can share.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I think we're gonna hear from staff first. Yeah. Can I ask a quick, just technical question? How many are you proposing? I know this is a plan and you might not have all the money for all of them. What's the number of the signs that you're planning to install right away?
That is the question. We're currently working with AsiaTown and what funds they have available.
I mean, how much does it pay for?
Yeah, I mean, I think right now we're not planning any installation. We'd be looking at doing that potentially next year based on funding from Mandel. So,
Okay, meaning you don't have the funding yet?
Yep.
You're getting this approved and then you'll.
work in phases over the next probably 3 years to roll it out.
Got it. It's obviously, sort of concentration and scale of
Sure.
having enough of these to look and feel is like one or two isn't gonna, so you don't have the funding, basically. You're just getting this in place.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think,
Okay.
we would prioritize, I think, the gateway signage most probably first. And then we have so much other placemaking work in the neighborhood already. But I think the gateway signage is like a focal point that's really
Got
missing.
Okay, thank you.
And to your question that you asked, that's why the committee did suggest and ask for a location like plan to be submitted to us, because it seemed kind of incomplete not to know where the signs are going. But not many things to say that we gave approval with that, with the caveat that a sign location plan is submitted for administrative review. And we did confirm who would perform the maintenance, because a lot of signs in AsiaTown are kind of fading. So they confirmed that Midtown will be performing all maintenance. And we did let them be aware that the tall blade sign It needs to be at least 16 feet tall. And those were the 3 comments from the committee.
Okay, thank you. Commission member?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have a couple observations and questions to the applicant. First of all, I'm happy that you all are looking at this more globally, especially the wayfinding signage. I think Madam Chair mentioned that should be applied to every neighborhood. Not trying to like create more work for guide, but we need some consistency, right? So that it's not disjointed. Have a little bit of concern about the blade sign that extends over the cart path. I couldn't tell what the height was to the bottom of that sign over the cart path, but it could be problematic for like emergency vehicles that are taller. You might lose it, to be totally honest. So I just wanted to make sure that that's at a comfortable height to at least address the worst case scenario that we're aware of with vehicles today.
Yeah, in response to that was a comment also from design review, and this we didn't obviously update the drawing because this is the submission, but they requested that it's 16 feet to the bottom.
Okay, that was the comment there. Okay, I was making sure that I thought you said the blade, but we're addressing over the cart path as well. Okay, thank you for that clarification. The other one I have a question about is the material of like the gateway signs. How's it going to resist corrosion, et cetera? Is it aluminum? Is it galvanized steel? Is it painted? Or whatever the process is? What's that going to be?
It is aluminum, so that it.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. And lastly, more importantly, it goes back to locations. I'm a little concerned about how the proliferation of signs where the intersection of the neighborhoods might happen. It needs to be strategic. You don't want them all sort of piled on one another. They need to be gracefully spaced and sort of respect, sort of the clutter that exists already, but also stand out so you know where you are. So I think that map for all 3 of these neighborhoods, just really when you start placing signage, would be incredibly helpful.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I have the AsiaTown map if you all are interested in looking at it, and I'm able to share the screen if it would just provide some comfort for like, it's not a big neighborhood, so we're not putting signs everywhere. So
I was gonna say, when you're ready and it's funded and you come back with locations, it's probably better to see it then. I would just say like, I feel like, sort of like, I know the Midtown signs well, we heard the St. Clair Superior signs. I personally actually like the AsiaTown ones the best. I really do. I think that, people put a lot of signs up all over, but I think also just in districts around the country where, these have that kind of look and feel, and I think, which is why the blade sign for me is appropriate if done well and high enough so it doesn't hit anything, because it has for me the kind of link to the special nature of kind of AsiaTowns, and will really enhance that as opposed to just mark a neighborhood. So it really does have something different than the other ones, that's cultural, that I like a lot, truthfully. So.
thank you.
Evelyn, could you go to, I think, slide 5 of the presentation? It's sheet 4. Yes. Okay. So macro and then comment on this. I noticed last week when I went to an event in the Slovenian home, then there's banners and things with different languages. I think that the Arabic is backwards. Like, I texted it to a friend that works with the Council of American Islamic Relations, and like how you write Arabic, like you connect the letters. So it's like backwards and the letters aren't connected. So I think we need to, when we do anything with another language, we need to like call people that like speak that language and make sure we do anything before we hit control print. This says Asianagar in, I presume, Hindi. The kind of starting at the bottom, the thing that looks like a dreidel is A. The two and the line on the next bit up are the sh, and the line before it with the line coming across makes it sh. So like that letter is basically subdivided. So like if we were in someone that didn't speak English and we saw this, it'd be like an A split in half. So I think that I can kind of put this in writing because it's hard to explain, especially since they're on the phone. But that looks strange to me, having like used to be able to speak Hindi. So it's as an example. So I think like that. I personally would change how like the word Asia is written because it looks like oddly split up. It's just a quick little fix. But I bring it up because with this and then the Arabic signs last week, I just want to make sure that we're not making ourselves look silly while we're trying to represent other languages. So
Very well taken. So I think you will do that, I hope, which is really cross-check with people who speak these languages about it. I think it's very important. So really good catch. Look at you, impressive.
I'm impressed, Charles.
Like you speak Arabic and Hindi, what else?
everyone speaks Hindi.
Impressive. So anyway, thank you. Any other
Just
comments?
Shannon has comments. Shannon, can you unmute?
Yep. Good morning, Shannon Leonard, Chief Zoning Administrator. So I talked to the director about this a couple weeks ago when they came back for their banners. So this is an expansion of their current Midtown banner program. All of these will go into a like executive right-of-way permit so that when they come back through with the locations, they could go through the administrative approval, but those locations will be put into legislation to expand their Midtown banner program and their wayfinding program. So just wanted to put that on the record so that you all knew that information. Thanks.
Madam Chair, this is just a quick question following up on something Vice Chair said about the materials, or maybe this is more for the applicant. What's the maintenance of that material? And I'm just wondering if that's included in some of the fundraising that you all are seeking.
Yeah, I mean, I think our hope is specifically with the metal banners that they'll require way less maintenance than the vinyl banners that we have done in other parts of the neighborhood and in Midtown. As far as like maintenance and funding for maintenance, that is like an ongoing priority. I think we recognize not just for this project, but some of our other investments in AsiaTown, like the pop-up park on Payne Avenue. We need to build up a revenue stream for fund maintenance. So that's something we're working on, and we have a few ideas, but nothing finalized yet.
Okay,
So-
thank you. And just appreciation as it's been noted for the cultural representation. Really appreciate the intentionality.
We want to follow up on one thing relative to maintenance. I've seen too often where a sign gets hit and it stays that way, right? And you know, it kind of speaks to the ease and accessibility of getting panels that are easily replaceable, right? And possibly having some attic stock if you do proceed with any signage. So.
Do we have a motion? And we may want to add Councilman Slides.
Yes.
Or if you want to make the motion and add your.
Yeah, because I
condition.
botch it up if I did
I
it.
think it's important.
Okay, well, I'll try. I would move approval, accepting the local design committee's request to submit a sign location plan to staff for administrative review, and also requesting confirming all foreign language presentations with the speakers of said language.
A motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yeah.
and Slife.
Yes.
Thank you. Really wonderful.
Yeah, it is
Thank
a
you.
nice signage.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
Really
you.
for the continued work.
It's the best signage thing.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I don't know if Mike heard that. We just got a Best Signage in Cleveland award from August Fluker. So far that we've seen.
So far, yeah.
We'll give it
Thank
out
you.
for this year. We're gonna give yearly awards at Christmas. You get it.
Thank you. Great way to end the week. Thank you.
You can put that on your website. Design review we're now going to Far West. This is 2025-09 Rocky River Drive Plaza. This is in our famous Councilman's Life's Ward. So we will defer to him. I'm just kidding. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury? And this is for conceptual approval, and there were 4 comments. So we're a little early in the process, which is great. So wonderful to have you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name's Nate Lull. I'm the West City Planner. I just wanted to open today with, before you all get to the discussion about this project, that to provide a little bit of background. This went to a conceptual review a few weeks ago at Far West Design Review Committee. Since then, the applicant has updated the project to reflect the comments that were made at that meeting. So what you're seeing today is a little bit different than the presentation, but it does address the comments that were made at that last meeting. Additionally, this is a proposed retail building in a 2-family district. This went to Board of Zoning Appeals back in January of this year and was granted the variances. So I just wanted to provide that additional context before JP gets into it.
No worries. Yeah, good morning. We've been working with the imam at the mosque, and out of the blue, I don't know, a month and a half ago, he goes, "What do you know about plazas?" Plazas. Okay. So he had mentioned that they'd been approached about the possible purchase of this property and had I guess a concept again already put forward to go through the zoning change to allow for this. He has aspirations of moving this quickly through, so we kind of jumped as quickly as we were able to try to move it ahead. We're designing it. It's a slightly irregular parcel, but it does back up to the mosque's current holding of funeral home. So rather than maintain an access point off of Rocky River Drive, we're able to kind of reutilize the access off Ferncliff to access parking that is underutilized when the funeral home is not actively used. The next slide had just some additional context just to show kind of where this sits in relation to some of the other, primarily residential off to the east. The mosque is just to the north, north of Ferncliff. You'll see a better picture of the funeral home itself, and then it is bordered to the south and to the north with existing residential. The property to the north, right at the corner of Ferncliff, is a 2-family residential. The imam had shared recently that he thought it was part of the original church property, but it was never purchased by the mosque when it was first when that property was acquired. And they have been in conversation with some of the neighboring property owners about maybe potential future expansions as well, to put more commercial on Rocky River Drive to kind of extend the look and feel of the mosque as they're getting more requests from congregants to, find homes in the neighborhood, not just residential, but to potentially bring business in as well. So the next slide had you could see the footprint of the house, the drive that will be removed, and we're just showing the adjacent residential. Next slide then would have proposed building footprint that respects all the setbacks at this point, creates a pedestrian access condition off of Rocky River Drive with a sign below the required or the allowed square footage, trying to be in concert with the neighborhood. We are creating a walk along the south side and patio space. The imam envisions this as a coffee shop. It's a little hard to read in the drawing, but we're primarily showing it as a single use, but it is subdivided. It's a little hard to see. It was supposed to be dashed. It could be subdivided into two. And then we're just showing access off of the main drive, off of Ferncliff, to show 6 additional parking spaces, including a handicap spot and a small dumpster area in support of the retail use. And then the next one just shows some of the context for the mosque itself. The banded language of the block is something that they are continuing to utilize and to, I guess, kind of mark this as part of this neighborhood. So I think it's the next slide, has the elevations. So we're kind of repeating that theme as a way of continuity across Rocky River Drive on this west side of the block. This does reflect some of the comments already made from Far West Design Review. We're kind of making both elevations, since it's kind of responding both to the parking lot and to the street side, identical. By sliding the bathroom block a little bit back, we're able to create both of those being identical. And there was a request to maybe put some additional windows on the long sides of the building, so that's reflective of that as well. So that's what we were proposing.
The street view. Like no, the photo. The photos for me. Just the photos. Yeah. So like relative to this, it sits where? Right? This side, the bottom one?
So these are all mostly from the back. These are from the parking lot on the back side west side of the mosque itself. The registry shot on the map probably shows more neighborhood context.
For me, yeah.
Okay, so most of those shots were from the parking lot behind the mosque where the primary entrance is. So what we're looking at in this case, that's a shot of the house as existing now.
That sits between two houses.
Yes. So that house too that you're seeing there in the upper right-hand corner was approved for demolition by this committee maybe a month ago. So we've already seen that and reviewed that.
Oh, we've already seen that. So it's okay. So go back to the site plan again. I'm just trying to orient. So why aren't you planning to the corner?
They don't own that property, but as Daniel Burnham said, make no small plans. They would like to, but they don't own the residential property at Ferncliff, nor do they own the adjacent residential to the south. But they would like to see this expanded. This would be a central element in a larger retail use.
Which makes sense, but that's why I don't know that you would. And who, I forget, I don't remember if I share, who owns and asked for the demolition of that house?
The mosque.
Mosque has.
I thought you said they don't own it.
I'm sorry, where the plaza is, they purchased and own that home that was referenced in that one shot, and that's been approved for demo. They have been in conversation with, as far as I'm aware, both neighboring properties to seek to acquire those
You're not
properties.
understanding anything. Then why aren't they planning for the to the corner with this development?
They own, this is where the house is that they
Right.
own, that's supposed to be for demolition. They don't own this. This is like a 1-story, 2-unit.
Got it.
Yeah. It's
Oh, okay. Oh, you see, now I understand.
Yeah.
They only own 4622.
Correct.
Okay. They don't own, and 18, that one was not slated for demolition.
Correct.
Okay, now I understand everything. Sorry. Just took.
That's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I believe the woman to the north is 80. He kept referencing who is 85, who is 81. I do not remember, but they're both elderly at this point, and he's approached both about that consideration. So.
So I'm supportive, just to not bury the lead. This, I don't have data to definitively prove this, but I'm told that this congregation is either like the largest or second largest mosque in the state. And it's a real growth point for the neighborhood. A lot of people moving in. There's a school attached to it. It's kind of mirrors kind of an old Cleveland story about like people moving and walking surrounded like around a religious congregation. There's not a lot of kind of I would call it culturally relevant retail and amenities in the immediate area, which has been noticed as something that the imam at the mosque is seeking to sort of solve for. The guy honestly could have been a bit of a planner in a different life. He's an interesting guy to talk to. So I appreciate ideally like it would be a little larger than what's being presented here, but I think it's the beginning of an ability to start to bring kind of new retail to this stretch of Rocky River Drive south of Puritas, which feels a little worn at times, and an ability to kind of like create some third places for people in the community, like the coffee shop and stuff that they just don't currently have. Kind of an interesting aside. I don't know how, maybe this would have been before I think any of us were on planning commission, but there was actually a very elaborate need from design review and zoning related to when they built this extension that we're seeing for the mosque, because the prayer hall has to face Mecca, but we have to have buildings front along the building frontage, and that was not the same angle. So it's been some interesting things along the way of helping this community grow, and this is a small thing, but I kind of appreciate the architecture and that some thought was put into it. And all in all, I'm eager to see a couple more things happen around here, some more new housing, some more new retail. So.
I have one design comment. I know this is early, so go to the final rendering. I think if you go to the next phase for me, because I really love the entrance of the mosque, and it actually reflects probably what you just said, this kind of like having to deal with the orientation. I do feel like the idea of, trying to, on the front, it reads like in the best way possible, like the mosque of like a solid building with punched openings, which isn't necessarily how retail sometimes wants to feel, right? So is there an enhancement that you make as you go to final around maybe for me how especially just the two sets of windows feel more storefront, less punched opening for retail, that just sort of like really welcomes you? Because I love the front of the mosque and that the kind of glass box that draws you in. Is there some of that sort of look and feel that makes this sort of less feel like a block building that got punched openings? Because it doesn't feel retail to me, and I love like the councilman that it is retail and it could celebrate it. So it's not a requirement, it's just my feeling about it. So
No, I think it's very, I mean, with apologies to trying to craft something in very short order to turn this around and tweak this as a resulting thing. I don't want to be an apologist for the design. The hard part is designing around a function that's not a function yet as well. Like if they said, this is a coffee shop, we could, yes. And so to some degree, without that commitment to what it is going to be, it was kind of a little more challenging to be deliberate about an architecture that has to be everything. So it, yeah.
Coffee shop for me, if one half was a coffee shop, then maybe you could actually wrap the window around the corner of that use, right? And then it would feel different.
Right.
But figure it out later. I did that without being on. Off the record.
So just to clarify with Nate, the Far West design review, all of the, I guess some of those have been there's four, and I want to make sure if what needs to be incorporated into the motion and what has already been addressed.
So the first comment about removing impervious surface has been incorporated into this plan, as well as the last, which is the consideration to flip or match the east and west elevations. So the middle two, landscaping and lighting plan, would be the ones that I would recommend incorporating into a motion.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Okay, yeah, so I'll move conceptual approval, incorporating design reviews, comments about the landscaping plan and the photometric plan, as well as Chairwoman Curry's suggestion to consider like the retail windows.
Second.
Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
and Slife.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. We'll see you again.
Appreciate
So
it.
the next one is Warner Swasey. I need to recuse myself. Commission member Drew Sargent is on, so we should note that for the record. And August will chair this portion of the meeting, and I will leave the room.
Okay, who do we have present for this?
Good morning. This is Nick Slaughterbeck from Moody Nolan. Joined with me today is Stephanie Hayward, also from Moody Nolan Online, as well as Michael Golden from Penrose, the developer of the project.
Okay, this is Euclid Corner Design Buckeye Design Review. Item number 2, Warner Swasey. I need to swear you guys in. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth for this matter now in hearing, under penalty of perjury?
I do.
I do.
I do. I do.
Okay, thank you.
Working
Please,
on my video. Sorry.
could you mute, please, if you're not speaking? Proceed.
Yeah, I finally here. It's been a long road, everybody. Really happy to finally be going for final approval on the Warner Swasey project. I'm going to let Stephanie take over for the majority of the presentation. I wanted to be here in person because I think this is a monumental step here to get this moving along. So,
Well, we certainly appreciate it.
of course.
Hey, Stephanie, before you jump, I want to say a couple quick words. First, good morning, and thank you to the commission for the opportunity to present today. I'm here on behalf of the development team for Warner Swasey Redevelopment, a two-phase mixed-use historic adaptive reuse project located in Midtown Cleveland. This project reactivates a long vacant Warner Swasey manufacturing building and transforms it into a vibrant, inclusive community anchored by 112 units of affordable housing for seniors and families, serving households from 30% to 60% of the area median income, and leveraging 2 federal low-income housing tax credits and historic tax credits. Our design maintains and celebrates the historic character of the building while introducing modern amenities and safe, accessible housing. We've worked closely with Midtown Cleveland, community stakeholders, and public partners to ensure that the redevelopment aligns with the broader neighborhood goals around equity, innovation, and preservation. And this project also received early and meaningful support from the City of Cleveland and Cuyahoga County, demonstrating strong public commitment to revitalizing this historic asset and delivering deeply affordable housing. As you may recall from our earlier presentations, we're working under a tight timeline to close financing by the end of this year, and we're very appreciative of the Commission's support to date. We are here today seeking final approval, which will allow us to move forward with submitting for building permits in early August. And I'm also joined today by our partner, Midtown Cleveland Incorporated, which has been instrumental in shaping and advancing this project alongside us. Thank you all. I just want to say quick words and pass it over to the Moody Nolan team.
Hey, Michael. I apologize. My camera is not working, so I'll have to keep it off. But if we can move through the slides here. So Michael gave an overview of the project. So let's keep moving till we hit the site location. We think we're all familiar with it on Carnegie Avenue, surrounded by the city service stations and waste management buildings. We can move through to existing conditions. Here is the building as it stands. Last time we came, we asked for final approval for demolition. You can go to the next slide of the sawtooth sheds here, and that was approved. So now we are here to show you asking for final approval for our final design. If we move to the next slide. And then one more slide to our proposed design. All right, so this was the diagram we showed last time. The parts of the building that we are looking to remove to then improve the functionality of the Carnegie building as a residential building. Next slide. Our proposed site plan. So here you can see we have our the shed. Taking away the sheds is going to allow for a open air parking lot, which was vital for life safety and fire truck access, as well as improving the views for the residents so they didn't have roofs right into their windows. Next slide. Here's our landscape plan. We are proposing just low maintenance native plants along the edges of the building, trees in the islands of the parking lots where we can. The street trees will remain. The city waterline project is actually improving this condition as part of their project. So all of the work in the right of way is actually what is coming from the city's drawings. So they will be creating a tree lawn for those street trees. Right now, the small grates really aren't doing those trees any favors. We're creating a pedestrian walkway along the left side of the plan with some plantings. And next slide, please. So our list of plants, native plants for the site. And then the next slide. So here's our site lighting plan. We are getting historic tax credits. So all of the lighting, since there is no existing lighting on the building, needs to be contemporary compatible. So it's really not about the lights. We're providing neutral lighting that will function well for the site. The street light A are the pole lights that'll be in the parking lot. Those are actually 25 feet tall. And then the D lights, which would be like more of a pedestrian scale, are happening along that sidewalk we're adding along the service drive. And then we have just really neutral wall mounted lights along the inside portions of the building, and then over the historic doors, the historic entries on Carnegie will have just a dark finish light to provide light for the entries. Next slide. So again, one more view of the existing building from the inside, and then our next slide, please. Here is a rendered image of what this building will look like once we get those sheds removed and all of the windows replaced. So this view is looking at the Carnegie, the Carnegie building, the portion that we're finishing out in this first phase. The first floor, we're proposing a storefront. The first bay in the corner is the residential entry, and then the rest of the bays will be a shell space, and there will be a commercial space in the future. All of our windows have gone through the review with SHPO, and so our mullion patterns match what was there. And so on this secondary side of the building, we did not have a mullion pattern in those windows. They're just simple 1/1 single hung windows. Fine. And so then here's a view of the entry with some benches. So on the wedge building side, the building on the left-hand side of the screen, we're stabilizing it for safety and security, but there will not be work in this portion of the building at this stage. So the first floor, we're going to infill with CMU rather than the storefront. Then I think there's a proposal that we could, put murals on that, really liven that up for the pedestrian scale. The upper floors, if there is already masonry infill in the windows, we're going to leave it as is. And then the other openings, we'll put in a translucent panel that will let light come in. That first bay in the very corner, that is our stair coming up. So that is actually in the scope of the project. Next slide. Here are our proposed materials. This is on the Carnegie side, so the main side. There was, the last time we heard some questions about the area well windows and that railing and what we were proposing to do. So we will be doing a brick infill there It'll be inset a half inch, so you still see that opening, that there was an opening there. And then we're going to be replacing that railing with a aluminum railing of a similar style, but it'll be a black color aluminum railing. Our windows are going to be a single hung dark bronze, historically approved window. This is then on the parking lot side of the building. Again, same materials. Where the sheds are being removed, there's actually an existing lintel. So on those second floor windows, they're split due to an existing condition. And so we'll be adding windows at the bottom. That shaded wall is actually a brand new wall, and we'll use the new brick to match the existing brick. And then the storefronts, we actually needed to keep the look of concrete columns. We weren't able to bring brick down to the base. And so we're proposing a porcelain panel that will wrap around and still allow us to insulate those columns and get an efficient envelope. Those porcelain panels come in sizes, they're 3 by 10 feet. So we're going to be able to keep our, the joint lines there won't be very many joint lines, and we'll have them aligned with the storefront. So it'll look intentional, and it's not going to look like, a small tile. Next slide. The stormwater management plan. So we are designing this stormwater management to accommodate a future phase where there could be a parking lot north of the building to remain on the north side of the site. So we wanted to make sure we accommodated that and kind of future proofing our stormwater. So we do have some underground chambers on the south side of the parking lot under the drive. Those will be installed. Our plans have not changed since the last time we presented this to you. The yellow is the resident amenity space on that first floor. The pink is the future commercial space. And then on the upper floors, the next slide is a typical residential floor with units on all 4 floors. And that is our presentation. We also have, following this, I have cut sheets and some construction drawings of the full elevations if you'd like to see those, or just for your reference.
Details aren't necessary for us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Staff report. Hello. Mic it, please.
Hello, I'm Kenya Gray, Southeast Side City Planner, but I have been the interim planner since Kim Scott has been out for Euclid Corridor. This project is pretty nice. If you ask me, I like the reuse of the building. I think it adds a blend of housing types to the central area, and I'm looking forward to it coming to the area so we can get more people in there.
Thank you. Commission members?
I think it looks great the way it is.
Okay.
No, it's exciting to see this go forward. I mean, dating back to when I was in economic development, like nearly 15 years ago, this was on our radar. So it's such a prominent corner. It'll be nice to see this be revitalized.
I do have a comment concerning the request moving the transformer. That sounds somewhat benign, but the more secondary run you add, it gets pretty expensive. So I didn't see where the transformer is located, but I think that could be, a pretty heavy lift because it's not that simple.
Yeah, we appreciate that. It actually, we talked to our electrical engineer after this request was made, and it would be, it's I think $400 or $600 a foot for every foot you move that. So, I mean, it was that transformer is strategically located for economy, and then also, for the look. And I think even Midtown has been talking about kind of treating that as an opportunity for some art. There are some really creative wraps you can put on there and help disguise it or make it look more unique and not just a transformer.
Yeah, transformers are transformers, but anyhow.
Yeah.
So, I just, again, I don't know where it is. I don't know what it obstructs or what it doesn't. Obviously that's your decision as a developer. So it's not a big deal. I just wanted to make an observation. Any further comments from the commission? Having heard none,
I will move approval of the Warner Swasey as presented.
Second.
thank you. Roll call, please.
Anthony,
Yes.
Luker,
Yes.
Sergeant,
Yes.
and Slife.
Yes.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Okay,
All right,
next
Madam Chair.
item is Euclid Corridor Buckeye Design Review. This is Signet Housing Project at Chester and East 40th Street. You are not the representative. Is someone else coming here from Signet or just you? It's online. Okay. Yeah. Aaron, it's a couple people online speaking as
Aaron
well.
Brooker is online.
Okay.
He is with Signet.
Okay.
James Drager is the project architect. I'm the project director.
Director.
Yes.
Do you all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury?
I do.
This is here for schematic approval. It was approved with no conditions. There were some, sorry. This is here for conceptual approval, but it was recommended for schematic approval. But they requested a few things when you come back for final. Is that correct?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate the opportunity to present the project. We're very excited about it. It's a great project in a location of Midtown, which is just open parking lots now. And there's an opportunity to kind of fill it in with some meaningful project typology and architecture. If we can go to the next slide. It's located between Chester and Euclid. The closest cross street is East 40th. It's shown outlined in red. Currently, all parking lot, all asphalt surface, and very little, if any, green landscaping. Next slide, please. This is the original plat map that showed the property before the purchase from the property owner. Next slide, please. We did go do a split and consolidation. So what you see highlighted in yellow is the plot of land that we're working with right now. In the lower left, you can see an existing fee simple townhome project that is, gosh, it's got to be almost 100 years old. That is on the Chester side. Next slide, please. From an architectural perspective, we thought it was important to really give an understanding of contextually what's happening along Euclid. We started our study at East 30th and started walking east. And what you'll see here are a series of photos that I'm sure everybody's familiar with, but just to kind of give everybody a little bit of additional background on the kind of architecture, scale, style we thought was relevant and should begin to inform the architectural solution for the project. So starting at 30th, there's a mix of what I call mid-century or international style architecture, low-rise, mid-rise projects, and a mix of material. You can see there's some red brick, there's some lighter buff color materials. Well, you know what was interesting? I walked from 30th all the way down to the Agora, and the pedestrian experience on the north side was actually very pleasant. Nicely landscaped. It was well taken care of. And that was the first thing that really struck me. And then we get to our site and it's like this missing tooth. So there's this open parking lot. It's not really all that well maintained. There's a fence around it, some grass and so forth. Some nondescript, projects on the south side of the street. These, you're kind of moving a little fast. So the upper right picture is the Chester side of the site. Site does go from Euclid all the way to Chester. So we have a full depth, call it, site that we can work with. Next slide, please. So the solution that we came up with was to, and this is under the Midtown Mixed Use District 1 designation. We did talk to planning, and we confirmed that was the zoning code that we needed to work with. It is split into two zoning codes. There's one on the Chester side, one on Euclid. We were approved to proceed with the Euclid designation for the entire site. The solution was really crafting 3 buildings, one tight up to Euclid to really hold that urban edge and really fill in the block. And then a north solution that fundamentally does the same thing, but has a different relationship to the street because we have the residential to the west of us. So we try to take in that architectural vocabulary and translate that to the building on the north side. And then the middle building, which is kind of in between the two, and how do we solve that problem? One of the things that we really focused on doing was meeting the pro forma that the developer had for the project, and we did get to this count that he needed to have, that our client needed to have, but also increase the amount of green space on the site, and create kind of, for lack of a better term, an oasis kind of a condition. And we felt that the middle building kind of provided an opportunity for that to happen. So we crafted a courtyard facing west that would, on the upper levels, provide some views of downtown. Facing east, there really wasn't much of a view to leverage. So we felt that orienting the building towards the west was the best solution. It allowed us to craft a small courtyard that would be available for all 3 buildings. And at the corners on the east side, you can see there's like these little notches in the building. Those are going to be like little spots where, and we have the renderings that'll illustrate what that actually does. But it is a pausing moment from north to south. One thing we needed to do was make sure that all 3 buildings connect from a pedestrian perspective. Building 1 is a 4-story building that has an elevator. First floor will have a small retail component, which still has not been identified yet, but we're showing about 1,800 square feet for a future use. And we're working with Signet, and we're working with the adjoining property owner, Gordon Preamer, on identifying what kind of a use that might be. The other thing that we needed to look at was really security. There is an ongoing issue with some vandalism with vehicles in some of the other Signet projects in Midtown. So we were asked to provide a perimeter fence that would provide a level of security or prevent people from coming in and vandalizing vehicles. And we'll explain how we solved that as we move forward in the presentation. Building 1, if we can go to the next slide, please, is like I said, a 4-story building. There will be a drive under to access the site. We are repurposing an existing curb cut on the Euclid side, and we are repurposing an existing curb cut on the Chester side as well. So we're not introducing any new curb cuts into the site. This site plan is what we had presented to the fire department for a review for fire access. We did get a verbal acknowledgement that this seems to work, and we are proceeding on the basis that this does work. We fully aware that there may be some additional comments that come out of the formal review, but we widened the drive lanes to make sure that the accessibility for the fire trucks is maintained. Now, when we did this, there is a need for a variance on the property line between the residential component on the upper left corner and the parking lot. There's a 10-foot minimum setback. We are about 2 feet off the property line. We originally had a 5-foot offset but with the additional width that the fire department required, we had to minimize that. So we try to keep that as tight as possible. We do intend on putting a solid fence there to prevent any visual connection between the two parcels and to prevent headlights from shining into the townhomes in that northwest corner. The other accommodation that we were required to make for the fire department, and this is better illustrated in the upper left, is a curb cut or curb modification to allow fire trucks to get within 30 feet of the face of the townhomes. So we felt we made all the accommodations that were requested and feel confident that this will get approved. Next slide, please. Kind of an aerial view of what the site will look like. We are still resolving the landscape component. We do have a preliminary list of plant material that we intend on using. If we can go back, please, to the site plan. And we will come back with a final palette of plantings and in a formal landscape solution. We do intend on the courtyard kind of wants to be its own room per se. We will provide some screening from the parking, but we want to kind of craft this space that is an outdoor space that all three buildings can utilize. On the left, you can see the type of fencing that we intend on using. The solid fence would occur, if you can make out the red line, on the two sides of the residential project at the northeast corner or northwest corner. And then the rest of the perimeter would be the spindle type fence at the minimum height required by the zoning code. Next slide, please. And we can kind of run through these. These are the palette of plantings that we're considering for the project. Fuzzy. I think this is just our landscape plan. And you can jump to the next slide, please. There we go. Thank you. So this is building one. This also reflects the first floor of that building that's going to have more of the commercial functions. The lower right is the retail space. We are working with the adjoining property owner to craft a larger patio area that could be used for some outdoor seating. The intent is to have some kind of a pedestrian engagement with that business function. The middle part of the plan is a fitness area for the development, and then a lounge area that can be used by the tenants as well on the lower left. To the left of the plan itself is the area that will be the upper levels of the building. So you can actually drive under the building to access the site. To the left of that, you can see some rectangular shapes. That is a parking, a bike storage area. It is outdoor storage. It will be undercover. We'll have parking for bike storage for the tenants on the north side of the fence line. And then we will have public bike storage on the south side of that fence line as well. And we did review the drive under with the fire department, and we will be maintaining a minimum height of 13 feet 6 inches, which is the International Fire Code distance, vertical height requirement. The upper floor plan is really just a reflection of what the unit layouts will be. We're looking at a mix of studios, 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom. My apologies, and 2 bedroom units. The total count is 159 units for the entire site. We have, before the fire review, we did have a 1-to-1 ratio of parking to unit count. With the widened drive lanes, that count dropped to 153. The MMUD 1 designation does allow for a 50% reduction in the parking. So we did have that discussion with our client. We wanted to maintain a 1-to-1, as close as we can to a 1-to-1 ratio for the intended demographics for the project. So we feel we've more than met the criteria for parking for this project. We can go to the next slide. Okay. Yeah, these are the layouts here. You can see how these are the 3-story walk-ups and what the courtyard configuration would look like. Facing west, so west is down and north is to the left. Next slide, please. These are the upper level units. Next slide, please. These are the units along Chester. There is about a 7 to 8 foot grade change from the middle of the site to Chester. So there will be a retaining wall condition along the sidewalk. Our intent is to do like a 3 to 4 foot high retaining wall along the sidewalk, terrace it back to another 2 to 3 foot transition wall at that point, rather than doing a 6 foot high retaining wall at the sidewalk. We wanted to scale that down and make it a little bit more comfortable for pedestrians. Next slide, please. I'll go through these quickly. These don't represent the materiality as well as we had intended. The renderings definitely do, but this will give you an understanding of floor-to-floor heights and what the patterning. The pattern intent is for building 1. We are looking at a gray tone brick that has a range for the field, and then a monotone brick, which is one of the colors within the field range, as a vertical detail within the patterning of the windows. So the windows are all very regularly patterned from floor to floor, but there's we try to liven the elevation by creating this patterning effect, this movement with the, and you'll see it in the renderings, and manipulating the detailing of the brick to provide some texture and some nice level of detail. We are looking at a metal panel at the bottom. We're looking at a patinaed green, copper green with some wood detailing. The back half of the building will be a dark charcoal metal panel that'll have a vertical seaming condition. We notched the building from at each end to help scale down and begin to create a dialogue between the Euclid building with the other buildings on the site. Next slide, please. And this again begins to inform the material use. We are looking at a hardy panel and then metal panels as well for the darker tones and for the wood tones. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. And these are the units on Chester. And you can see what we try to do. We made a gesture here to try to connect the north building with the south building. The end unit that is adjacent to the entrance drive into the site, our intent is to use the same brick that we're using on the south building. Just again, a level of connectivity between the two buildings and giving some uniformity to the overall project, but still and marking entrance into the site. We feel this is a solution that provides a little bit of a marker for entrance into the site as well. Next slide, please. This is our material palette. One of the comments during the ARB review was to look at perhaps a lighter palette of the brick colors, which we are exploring. It would be the same brick, but with a different blend ratio. We are looking at a 60-40 here on the right. We're going to flip it to a 30-70, which I think will have a pretty meaningful effect on the tonal quality of the building. To the left of the field designation, you can see the soldier coursing for the brick. And this is a Norman brick size, so it's a little bit longer and has a more elegant horizontal look to it. The vertical configuration is what we are intending for the panels surrounding the windows. And again, you'll see that in the renderings a little bit more clear. Wood tone, the hardy ply panels with a ridge line, and then the metal panel for the base of building 1, and then the darker charcoal color for the metal panels on all 3 of the buildings. Next slide, please. This is a rendering of the building 1. This is on Euclid Avenue. You can see the historic building to the right. That is a terracotta facade building, and you can tell that it's a much lighter tone. So again, the intent was to carry that tonality along Euclid so that it continues the language that's already within this Midtown district. The darker tone in the back half of the building, you can see how the notch really helps break down the massing of that side of the building, and then begins to relate to some of the material usage for the middle building and for the north building. We also are showing a V-shaped column configuration on each end. It was more in an intent to create a little bit of a visual interest at the base of the building, responding to the more pedestrian nature of the MMUD requirements for pedestrian engaged experience. Next slide, please. This is a dusk view that's a little closer, and you can begin to see how the field brick and the insets with the vertical brick is beginning to set up a more dynamic architectural language. There's more visual interest. There's movement that would otherwise provide a very, very static kind of condition with the building. So the intent was to really create some movement and some interest along Euclid. We think this will be a very strong and contributing piece of architecture for the Euclid corridor. Corner condition where the retail would be a lot of storefront. Evenings would be fully illuminated, so it would again create a little bit of a life at the base of the building. Next slide, please. This is a view from the opposite side, showing the pass under the building for cars. Again, I think that for some reason the top band is showing a little bit darker. That's not intentional. It's all supposed to be monochromatic. That field condition is supposed to be the entire facade. And again, here you can see how the patterning around the windows creates a little bit more visual interest. Next slide, please. This is a straight-on view of the Euclid building. Again, I think this better illustrates the tonality of the brick and where we would have the soldier coursing versus the field patterning for the brick. Even though most of the windows, if not all the windows on this elevation stack and it's a consistent size, the two ends have a little bit of a different patterning just to give it a little bit of visual interest at each end of the building. Can also see how we were used. We can go back one, please. The green tone at the base was a subject of much discussion during our review. We settled on this. We felt that it was a nice complement to the beige tones of the brick and works well with the wood tones. At this point, we're looking at introducing a little bit of signage right at the entry. And then depending on the tenant in the retail side, we would introduce some signage in a spandrel panel above the entrance door. The trees that you see are existing. The tree lawn is existing. We're not looking to change any of that landscaping. Next slide, please. This is a rendering of the middle building. And you can see the introduction of the darker tone metal panel with more wood to help identify entry points into the building. And then the white hardy planks or hardy panels on each end to help kind of bookend the composition. Next slide, please. Book on.
Here it says something else. Yeah.
Doesn't say Vocon. This is the corner of the middle building. This is, I had mentioned this little, the corner condition that creates a little bit of a pause for pedestrians walking north and south. So the north building would walk by the middle building along this pathway. We would have some benches. We would have some bollard lighting that would provide some ground illumination only. We're not looking to introduce any high site lighting at these corners. Again, we want to be sensitive to the residents and not having anything shining in their windows. And on the right, you can obviously see how that fence line will be working along the adjoining property line. Next slide, please. This is a rendering of the courtyard of the middle building. This is what's facing west. So we're still developing this final solution, but the intent here would be to provide some landscaping that would block headlights from shining into that what we're calling an outdoor room. Again, once we have that landscape plan finalized, we'll bring it back for a final review and approval. I believe the next slide shows it without the landscaping, so you can get a better understanding of what the architecture actually looks like. Same palette of materials. You can see the metal panels at each end, wood tones at the entrances, and then the white piece just to kind of balance out the composition. Next slide, please. It's a rendering of the north building. This is building 3. You can see the patterning of the brick that matches the building on the south side. One of the comments during ARB was the cornice feels a little heavy, so we are studying that. We're going to lighten that up and give it a nicer finish and nicer scale as compared to the rest of the building. You can also see the terrace condition along Chester and the steps that would lead up to the units. ADA accessibility to these units would be on the backside. So all the units are fully accessible. We have met all the accessibility requirements for the project. Our intent is to put some signage on top of one of the retaining walls here to signify entrance again on the north side of the site. Next slide, please. This is from the opposite direction, giving another view of how we would compose this elevation. Next slide. Oh, that's it. So we did have some comments that from ARB that we will be implementing. They were not shown here, or maybe I should just let staff report read this. Okay.
All right. So I mean, he kind of covered all of the comments that design review had, as far as like the finishes, some of the buildings and the accessibility concerns and the signage, the wayfinding signage he's already addressed what the committee had to say about the buildings. Personally, I think that they're a great addition to the neighborhood. I really like how he continued the context of the neighborhood. I think it fits in Midtown. Not gonna lie, the green was kind of a surprise, but the committee, you like it? Okay. I don't have any color. I mean, I like green. It's one of my favorite colors too, but I don't know.
The Cleveland thing, they like all gray and beige.
All right. Okay. Yeah, but no, I think overall it's a great project. I think it fits into the community, into the neighborhood, and I'm looking forward to seeing it come. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I really want to commend you. I for a site that's unusual, that goes block to block, that has 2 conditions, that has some, but from an infill point of view, I think this raises the bar. I think it also does a complicated thing where you needed to do the density in mid-block and try to do it in a way that wasn't just a building sitting in a sea of parking. So I actually think it's really extraordinary. And I love the design. And I mean, to my commission members, I'm all about speed. I think for me, you're far enough along that this is not conceptual.
Well, we did request
And
schematic.
you requested schematic, but my sense would be if this commission's fine is if you have to go back to local, but unless you disagree in final, I don't know we need to see it again. So meaning you'd go back on the details and the landscaping, but if they agree with it, I don't think we need to waste your time. We gotta get the shovels in the ground.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
Madam Chair, I had a couple comments. First of all, leave it green. I would be very upset.
Leave it?
Yes.
I agree. I agree.
Okay. I would also like to piggyback on Madam Chair's comment about the utilization of the site. I mean, it's always easy to sort of build density, but it's respectful. The fact that you create an intentional pedestrian path to navigate the depth of this site, and it's not just a straight line. Because people, obviously, at the end of the day, we want to get from point A to point B, but it should be more dignified. and graceful. I think you've done a wonderful job there. And lastly, more importantly, this should be a nice model case of how we develop sites that are a block deep between two major thoroughfares. There's a couple examples that have happened in Cleveland, and they happen to be both on Euclid, right? And Signet developed them. So hooray for that as well. So you have my vote. You had anything, Charlie?
It's a great project, and I will say it's my first reaction. One of them was the parking lot seems large, but I think recognizing where this is, there's not street parking available on Chester or Euclid, so it's sort of a necessary evil, for lack of better words, for the specific site. I feel like I'm the guy that always has like a macro comment that's beyond the project. So this isn't, if there's an ability to find a spot on the site for larger trees, I know that parking's necessary, and I'm actually sending Director Mersman an email right now because I've kind of been requesting this for a while. This is just to my colleagues now. I think we should have a session with the Tree Commission because the Tree Commission wants to preserve the urban tree canopy, and we are trying to promote dense urban development, and there's a conflict there. And I think we need to understand ways that we can, if we worry sometimes that we don't allow the opportunity for neighborhoods like this that have no tree canopy to get a tree canopy because there's no real estate on the project to plant something like a maple or an oak. So we're just sort of in conflict with each other. And I don't know what the resolution is, but I'm inspired by the 1987 made-for-TV film, The Jetsons Meet the Flintstones. Like, I think the Jetsons need to meet the Flintstones, and we need to sort of have a conversation about our different worlds. So the comment here would just be, if there's an opportunity anywhere to do something more than the ornamental trees, I think that it would really enhance the project over time. But I know that real estate doesn't always allow for that.
Thank you.
So you want to work on?
Sure. I'm gonna make a motion to approve for final approval. Project as presented with the caveat that the applicant continue to work with local design review and staff to iron out landscaping, wayfinding, et cetera. Thank you.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Just to clarify what that means is that you still have to go back to local.
Sure.
You don't have to come back here unless you can't work it out with them, basically. So like, unless, let's say you disagree entirely about the green and they hate it and they turn it down, then you can come here and we could overturn it, right?
Okay.
But if you agree on everything, you don't have to come back to us. Sorry, it was just for effect.
Yeah.
So, because it doesn't give you carte blanche to say you just have final approval. That's my point. All right, let's call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
and Slife.
Yes.
Motion.
Great. Thank you. It's nice seeing you.
It's really gonna be a really nice for me, like that portion at 40th. It's kind of like the connectivity now between where you are, which there is a gap, and the gap isn't just that tooth, it's a gap.
Yeah.
And sort of like making it feel connected because of how big this project is. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
It really helps those quaint little townhouses that
Yeah.
are off of Chester.
Yeah.
It helps create some stability there.
Yes,
Give it like a
absolutely.
backbone.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I also believe it will be catalytic, meaning like this kind of investment, it'll have a catalytic effect in an area that hasn't had. It's pretty cool. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're on page 8. No, sorry. Yes, page 8. It's a public art presentation, 2025016. This is at 128th Crosswalk Murals, at Buckeye 128th and Buckeye. It's at Buckeye 128th and Drexmore 128th. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Come on up. So we're at 128th Crosswalk Murals at 2 intersections, Buckeye and 128th and Drexmore 128th. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer to the penalty of perjury? And you turn yours, just, they'll both be on green. That's good. And Tara, do you want to go first or do you want to go last? Your call.
I can go last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Good morning.
Yay.
Morning. Thanks for having us. And so I'm Josiah Britt from Collective Express, which is a small arts organization that works with community groups to get art projects done. And I'm working with Mr. Bob Render from the East 128th Street Block Club Association. Apparently, everywhere we go, yes. I didn't know you were chairman, Leslie. And what you're seeing in this presentation is a shot of East 128th Street at Buckeye Road. And this project is to beautify the street quite literally by painting the asphalt murals. So what we would like to do is paint the crosswalks. These are existing crosswalks. There's one that crosses East 128th at Buckeye Road, and there is a second one that crosses East 128th at Drexmore. This is a one-way street, and that'll also be illustrated in here. We'd like to do it this summer. And you can go to the next slide, please. The inspiration for this is that East 128th Street is a street that has a strong block club and a strong presence, and it's primarily African-American. And the thought here is to build on some existing art projects that are already installed by creating vibrant crosswalk murals and using kente cloths, also known as mud cloths and known by some other names that came from the African tradition. We would like to create these black and white crosswalk murals. And what you're seeing on this slide is the existing art that exists at the corner of East 128th and Drexmore. It was created by Anna Arnold, and there is a park there. And so it kind of shows the lineage of Black history all the way from Africa up to modern day and Cleveland. So there's some local history too. There's even QR codes where you can look at, what each of the scenes is depicting. And so we thought it would be very appropriate to use a pattern that is known throughout Black America and the African disparate. Next slide, please. These are some more examples of kente cloths, and it's a pattern that you can't define, but you know it when you see it. There are many variations of it, and they all involve geometric shapes. And so that's the inspiration that we're going for. Next slide. So once again, this is the corner of East 128th at Buckeye. It's where you get onto the street. It's a one-way street. And so that crosswalk right there is where we like to place the first one. Next slide. Here's another shot of the crosswalk. And this is roughly what we are proposing, is within the existing boundaries of the crosswalk, putting a black and white kente cloth pattern. And it would just help the neighborhood feel more inviting. And it's sort of like the front door to Buckeye as well as you're coming from Southmoreland. Next slide, please. Here is the other corner, and this is the corner by the park and the existing artwork. Next slide, please. Here's the shot the other way, the Amos Norwood Park. It has a gazebo. It has the African art already on the wall, and that is roughly what we're proposing here is to add the kente cloth pattern, and it would sort of be like a proverbial red carpet for you to cross the street and get over to see the artwork on the wall and also reach the gazebo that is used by the community. Next slide. So once again, I am Josiah Britt. I am founder director of Collective Express. I sort of came up with the concept and I would oversee the mural. The artist, though, would actually be Lacey Talley. She's a very sought after artist in the local scene. She's done murals everywhere from Public Square. She also has a background in African American studies, and she would be a natural fit to do this project some justice. So working with her, working with Mr. Render, and also getting some area youth the opportunity to see this happen and just kind of, I wouldn't say that they'll be painting, but that they'll be involved in the process. The community engagement component of this would be very important in order to just help them feel like this street is their street and that this community is worth investing in. I believe that might be the last slide. Oh, that's right. So the product that we intend to use is called Pro Park. It's a Sherwin-Williams product, and it is designed for markings on streets, parking lots, asphalt. So this is actually a product that is designed for more industrial use, and we have found a way to use that in an artistic way by painting it, you know, in the kente cloth type pattern. So we expect it to be very durable. I think the issue came up in the other commission about will it survive a snowplow? And my answer to that is yes, because it's designed to. It's designed to paint on the street. It's not just, you know, a paint that is used, you know, on houses that we are trying to put on asphalt. That being said, you got anything to add?
Yeah, thank you. The genesis for this project actually came from Commissioner Rob Maybeck. He was, I had asked him to come out in last spring to look at the
He's come around.
Yeah, I kind of shock people when I say the commissioner had this idea. So he came out with one of his staff members we were talking about striping the crosswalk. So when we got down to the Drexmoor Inn where the mural is, he says, you know, I'm going to leave that center area open so you guys can come up with maybe some artwork. And I thought that was rather interesting coming from him.
Yes.
And I think what I told so I was familiar with some of the work that Josiah has done in the neighborhood, East 130th, and now he's working on the project with Huntington Bank, the mural there, and Land Studio. So I reached out to Josiah and I said, here, take a look at what the commissioner is suggesting. Do you have any ideas? And he came back with some ideas. We met with Lily. What's her name?
Lacey.
Lacey. We met with Lacey. And they said, well, we can do something unique. The street is still unique in the sense that when I first moved on the street, Dorothy Miller was still there, Hellraiser from Good Trouble, I call Dorothy Miller. And a lot of the Hungarians were still living on the street. But just like in living in urban communities, when I moved there, there was a lot of mass exodus leaving the Buckeye area for a variety of different reasons. I'm a proponent of street clubs. That came from my experience growing up in Fairfax on 105th and then 100th Street. Mr. Puluga, I thought we were in high cotton when we moved from 105th to 100th Street, but the really high cotton is old 89th Street. Okay, you really in high cotton when you were over there. And I said, so I took the whole philosophy of street clubs and we formed a street club right in the backyard of Dorothy Miller. I've been the street club president off and on, mostly for 30 years. And one interesting thing about the street, when I moved there, it was 90% owner occupied. We moved fast forward, it's still 75%. Which is unlike any other street in the Buckeye community. And I attribute to not just Bob Render, but there's I'd say a core group of people on the street that get involved. If they see something, they're going to say something. If they know something, they're going to do something. So it's a testament to just leadership and people getting involved.
Awesome. Tara, you want to go ahead?
Yes, thank you. This was approved at the Euclid Corridor Buckeye Design Review on July 10th. I was traveling. I wasn't at that meeting. I'm unaware of any conditions. To consider maintenance program for the future. I think that especially at the intersection at Drexmore, it's a compliment to the mural that you guys approved some years back. This existing now, I think the kente cloth is very appropriate and complements that mural. I'm in support of both locations as long as the condition is met based on the street painting ordinance. There is to be no text in the copy. Originally, when this came to us, it had some quotes and things incorporated, and because of the ordinance, we asked them to just stick to the kente cloth patterns to adhere to that ordinance. So with that as a condition of approval, I would recommend that it be approved at these two sites. And there was one other comment that came.
Your thing. Yeah.
One other comment that came up in our staff meeting too, if you could go back to the slide, that one right there, is which I'm sure it probably will happen, it's probably just not in the drawing, is the light lines on either side for the crosswalk. It's in the first one. Yeah, yes. It's on the first one, just not on that. Yes. Yeah, that
Probably a
is important
Photoshop issue.
because of federal regulations.
It is.
Say within
Yes.
those stripes.
Thank you. I really love it. I think, actually for me, today this happened with the AsiaTown. Of all the kind of crosswalk paintings that I've seen, like, I really like this and your notion of like, it's not just a directional thing, but it's like a welcome mat. That idea is really powerful, just as an idea, as opposed to just painting crosswalks. Like this threshold idea is so powerful. So congratulations. It's really wonderful.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just also like to add that black and white is brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, I mean, seriously, it's, I think it was a brilliant choice as opposed to color.
I mean, you could actually imagine them in many more places.
That's
Like this
probably-
idea of like, it could have that district feel that is also powerful. So as this is successful, there might be a chance to kind of have an identity that is broader in this area. So very cool.
I
Very cool.
think the black and white also helped get Commissioner Maybeck on board. as
Well,
well.
I was about to mention him. I truly believe, no, seriously, for like future street improvements, that should be considered in neighborhoods to provide some identity and provide actually a more respectful way of engaging with the community, as opposed to say, here's some pavement and here's some curbs and walks, and you walk away. So.
What was the joke about?
We don't want to say, he's been here forever and he's had an evolution. He's an evolution of more, he would say this if he's here, he said it the other day, which is that kind of just I'd say like 20 years ago, kind of much more focus on moving automobiles through the city and sort of being able to balance and shift to people in the public right of way and cars. Like, so that's been just also across America, it's been a shift to care about the pedestrian as much as the car. So,
You say he's come a mighty long way. huh?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna create a quick motion. I'd like to move.
Just real quick, I'm sorry, and Madam Chair, just the applicant, I appreciated the inclusion of the history of the cloth. And just curious, as you all think about the community engagement aspect and how this is being communicated, I think not to assume that everyone knows the historical context of the kente cloth. I think it's just an important element to think about when you're engaging folks for this project.
All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Madam Chair, I move to approve the murals as presented with the caveat that they consider a maintenance program for the future, adhere to the city ordinance, aka no text, and color within the lines. In other words, your mural has to occur within the crosswalk lines.
a motion, do we have a second? Motion and a second, call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
Slight.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you so much. Can't wait to see them.
Thank
So,
you.
We have 3 mandatory referrals. As folks from the city probably going to present those. First one is on page 9810-2025. This is authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue 1 or more permits for the Greater Regional Transit Authority to encroach on public right-of-way at East 79th Street. It looks like,
Oh, you know, the mandatory referral when Rick is here.
yeah, or many. Are you here for all of them or just the first? Just the first one. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Rick Swatowski. I manage the Engineering Construction Division. We're here today for ordinance number 810-2025, which is an encroachment permit being requested by the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority for the East 79th Street bus station there that they're going to totally reconstruct it. And that's where the green and blue line goes by. See on the next slide. That's the existing station, and by the way, that telephone pole isn't bent that way, it's just an illusion. So that's the existing one and how it looks at this point in time. The next slide shows you the area of where the encroachment will occur. It's basically on both sides of the street where they'll be encroaching to put various items in. Next slide's an aerial view of the encroachment the actual construction of the new bus stop. And finally, the last one's a rendering of what it's going to look like. The encroachment will include replacement of approximately 190 feet of existing sidewalk and curb, construction of pedestrian barriers between bridge piers under RTA Bridge, new signage at the north end of the bridge, under bridge lighting, overhang of head house canopy, bollards along the sidewalk at the head house, new ADA ramps and crosswalks. Next slide, any questions?
It looks great. We must have seen this project without me.
Yes.
Because I don't remember,
Yeah, I did
but I
too.
like it a lot.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Madam Chair, I move to approve mandatory referral number 810.
Second. Motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony.
Yes.
Fluker.
Yes.
Curry.
Yes.
Slight.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Next one is,
Nice weekend.
you too, is a landmark mandatory referral 818-2025. This is designating Greater New Calvary Baptist Church, formerly the First Congregational Church of Collinwood, as a landmark.
Story time.
Story time.
Okay. Thank you. Carl Brunges, Cleveland Landmark staff. This is located in Ward 10, so Councilman Hairston. There we go. This property is located in the South Collinwood Census District. Collinwood is split between East Cleveland and Euclid townships. It is named for Charles Collins, who was the chief engineer for the Lakeshore Michigan Southern Railroad for 30 years. Although the name Collinsville appears on the 1874 map, it was quickly changed as there was already a Collinsville in Ohio about 8 miles east of Oxford. The Encyclopedia of Cleveland History notes that in 1874, at least 500 engineers, firemen, brakemen, conductors, and other employees made their headquarters near the yard to handle the 72 freight trains arriving daily. As the railroad grew, so did the village of Collinwood, with its population reaching 3,200 by the 1890s. The congregation was founded as an outgrowth of the Free Congregational Church of Collimer in East Cleveland, with 18 charter members. Ford Chapel was named in honor of Horatio Ford. Though records were not specific, it is believed to be after Horatio Cyrus Ford, who had died in 1876, not long after the founding of the church. His son was Horatio Clark Ford. It took only 2 years to construct the building. It's in a Romanesque revival style with an Akron plan layout. The architect was William Warren Sabin, active in Cleveland for more than 3 decades. He has more than 50 buildings currently attributed to him, with the First Church of Christ, Euclid, Ohio, the Henry Grave House in Sandusky, and the Dr. William Gifford House in Cleveland, listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The Bolton Avenue Presbyterian Church, now known as the Antioch Baptist Church, was designated as a designated Cleveland landmark and was completed immediately before First Collinwood in 1894. Collinwood was annexed by Cleveland in 1910. There was an addition in 1913 and alterations in 1914, but those permits are missing. The church formally incorporated in December 1914, and a few years later looked to add a new gymnasium. Unfortunately, this permit was also missing, but the church records mentioned the architect's name once. Herman Maurer was born in Cleveland and graduated from the K School of Applied Science in 1907. Nearly 24 churches have been attributed to him thus far, including Cleveland Landmarks Emmanuel Presbyterian, First Hungarian Reformed, and one of our more recent ones, the East Glenville Methodist Episcopal Church, whom he designed with his partner Mills. At the golden anniversary of the congregation, there were 500 members and 600 attending Sunday school. In 1936, the YMCA began using the parish house and gymnasium for their facilities. This arrangement would continue until 1957 when they moved to new facilities around the corner. There was a merger where we had the formation of the United Church of Christ in 1957. This came over a couple of years, and then they changed their name to the Collinwood Church of Christ, the United Church of Christ, in 1961. Also that same year, Dwayne L. Day was installed as pastor. Day would be a part of the civil rights activities in the area that would affect the church long term. And I will ask to be excused for the brevity of some of this discussion, because this is a very complicated time in our city and country's history. So I just had to hit some high points here. During the 1950s, urban renewal projects, including Area B, Area K, and the Inner Belt construction, forced thousands of African Americans further east into neighborhoods near Collinwood. This was coupled with the second great migration of Southern Blacks and Appalachian whites. Collinwood experienced extreme demographic changes that led to increased racial conflicts at the time. The landmark case of Brown versus Board of Education ruling in 1954 ended legal segregation in the education system, asserting that separate could never be equal, and mandated the desegregation of public schools in America. The busing of Black children to white receiving schools heard protests from both Black and white parents. Day was an ardent supporter of civil rights and school integration. He was a member of the Emergency Clergymen's Committee for Civil Rights, serving on its executive board formed about 1964. The school integration issue reached a breaking point in April with the accidental death of Reverend Bruce Clunder, who was crushed by a bulldozer at the construction site of the elementary school on Lakeview. The Clergymen's Committee included about 230 Protestant and Jewish clergymen in the greater Cleveland area. Dr. Jeffrey K. Haddon noted in his book, The Gathering Storm in Churches, 1969, that at least a dozen of them lost their pulpits due to their involvement, including Day. Day tendered his resignation in an effort to keep the congregation together, but with everything happening in the neighborhood, it was too late. Yeah, a report by the Collinwood Community Service Center noted 90% of the population of South Collinwood was ethnic Europeans and 5 to 10% was Black in 1965. By 1968, they estimated with the Black population had grown to 30%, the ethnic population had 40%, and the Appalachian whites had established themselves as 30% of the population. The church lost membership quickly. In 1962, the church had 479 members, but by 1964, it was down to 298, and weekly attendance about 52. Following the annual meeting in January 1966, the trustees noted some of their issues facing the future. Members were leaving the neighborhood and transferring to other churches. They were aging out, as there was only 4 members in attendance under the age of 30. There was an increase of churches in their census tract. The expenses were exceeding the income, and as noted by one member, the church was in the throes of what was happening across the country, that it was in a changing neighborhood and not changing with it. In an effort to continue, they investigated the possibility of merging with another congregation, and after 9 months, it came down to one possibility, Grace United Church on West Sharp Avenue, but the Collinwood congregation would have to move there. On January 18th, 1967, the membership voted overwhelmingly to disband, with the final day being on March 31st, 1967. The property transferred to the Western Reserve Association of the United Church of Christ. In March 1968, the building became the site of the Collinwood Multi-Service Center, funded by a 3-year grant from the Greater Cleveland Foundation. This housed offices for the various agencies seen here. This facility and other service centers became an important local support center as in May 1968, Mayor Carl R.B. Stokes launched the Cleveland Now initiative. This was to be a 10 to 12-year program designed to cure physical and social ills, including housing, jobs, and health, remaking Cleveland into a thoroughly livable city. In 1971, at the end of the 3-year grant term, the now named Collinwood Community Service Center moved to 741 East 153rd Street. 1971 was also the new beginning for the property. On January 3rd, a new congregation was formed. The day began with a Sunday school class and a morning sermon. They reassembled in the afternoon to organize the church. It was during this meeting that Greater New Calvary was named and Minister H.H. Hardy was called to be its pastor. There are 2 deeds in late 1971 transferring the property to the new congregation, and less than a decade later, they were able to burn the mortgage. The congregation has been together for more than 50 years. They provide for the community with their food pantry and clothing programs. For a number of years, they also housed the South and West Community Center, providing a safe place for the youth of the neighborhood to participate in supervised activities, while the Collinwood Recreation Center was in development. The Collinwood Rec Center opened in 2012, but this facility remained in use until the pandemic in 2020. Music has been a large part of the congregation. There have been at least 7 different choirs throughout the years. And it continues to this day. So our significance, we had multiple points of how this is a significant structure, how it relates to the community, and our current conditions. Take you through a tour of the property. Maintains its integrity.
The current owner and councilman in support?
Yes, we have. Yes, they were the ones that initiated the. There are 2. We'll get to it in a second here. 2 stained glass windows. Nella Morgan. I did not have much information on her, but she passed away in 1937. Could not find her connection to the church outside that her mother's funeral was held there in 1923. And then Jay Odell was a member of the church. He was involved in the temperance movement, included as a stint as the president of the Ohio State Anti-Liquor Alliance, and was a member of the Prohibition Party. There are references to him being active in the abolitionist movement, including possibly being a part of the Underground Railroad, and he died in 1908. And then at this and sources.
Okay, thank you. Commission members, any questions or comments? Extremely thorough.
As always, Carl. A1 job. I'm going to move to approve ordinance number 8818 as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes.
and Slide.
Yes.
Thank you so much. The last mandatory referral is unnumbered. This authorizes the director of Mayor's Office of Capital Projects and the Director of Parks and Recreation as appropriate to enter into agreements with Cuyahoga County and Cleveland Metro Parks for the construction and ongoing maintenance of improvements to the Lake Erie shoreline known as the Euclid Beach Connector Trail. Question, this, before I ask, the source of funding for this is?
Hi, thank you, everyone.
For me, just from a recusal point of view, the
Sure.
source of funding.
There's no Cleveland Foundation money involved.
Okay.
Source of funding.
I can stay
Okay.
because we're heavily involved in Euclid Beach and it's along there, but
Right.
I don't have any conflicts, but I, just out of abundance of caution, I'm going to abstain when you vote.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Do you want me to answer your question completely about the funding there? Okay, so 3 million is coming from the city of Cleveland, roughly about 6 million from the county, 1.5 from the sewer district, and then OD&R, there's about 2.5 million, and then the National Park Service about another 1.5 million. So that covers the lion's share of it. Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay.
but just, we're not involved, but abundance of caution, just because of our support of Euclid Beach, I think I will abstain. So go ahead.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. Trevor Hunt from Cuyahoga County Department of Public Works, here today to talk about the Euclid Beach Connector Trail, and this is for a unnumbered ordinance for mandatory referral. If everyone's familiar, the last project Carl described was in the Colorado neighborhood. This is in the North Colorado neighborhood. For those that aren't familiar, the sub-neighborhoods of Beulah Park, Villa Beach, and Shore Acres, all lakefront neighborhoods, homeowners associations are there. The Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District has two sewer outfalls, sewer outfall 206, which is at the end of East 156th Street, and outfall 207. And then the Cleveland Metro Parks Lakefront Reservation is to the east there. So just a location for familiarity. Next slide, please. So this grew out of the county master plan for the lakefront public access. There's 5 focus areas. This is kind of the second or the third project that the county hopes to sell. I say second or third because we're on parallel course for the Lake Clifton connector and the cities of Lakewood and Rocky River to sell this job here this fall. So next slide, please. So this is on the top is a location map. This is the project itself. You may have, I'm going to try to breeze through this because you may have already seen this, but please stop me if you have any questions. So on the far eastern end, this is the connection to Cleveland Metro Parks, Euclid Beach. The Euclid Beach Pier is right at the very far right side of the screen there. And then we'll work westward. Next slide, please. So this is an overlook point at roughly East 156th Street. Again, it's a 10-foot wide multi-purpose trail. It includes shoreline revetment work and then some other amenities, including overlooks and access points. This being one of them. Next slide, please. Moving further west, the magenta dot on the left, that signifies the view. There'll be a cobble beach. Overlook right there on the bottom left, and then on the bottom right, it's just a view looking east of the trail. That's in front of the Villa Beach neighborhood. Next slide, please. And then moving even further west, this is on the bottom left is the connection, 10-foot wide multi-purpose trail. This will connect to Lakeshore Boulevard via Shore Acres Drive. So Shore Acres Park, there's a 10-foot wide easement going through their actual members park that's located there off Shore Acres Drive. Next slide, please. This is the final, this is just a bird's eye. What you see there is Shore Acres Park looking to the east. And the bottom left is a screenshot of a submerged reef. So again, some eco improvements that we're making to the shoreline in conjunction with this project. Next slide, please. So these, I mentioned there's several access points. The red stars indicate where those access points are. On the eastern end, Euclid Beach Park, East 156th Street at the end of the right of way. And then in the far western, there'll be an access point at Lakeshore Boulevard. Again, via Shore Acres Drive, and this will all be standard 10-foot wide and width. Next slide, please. So more specifically today to talk about why we're here, the easements, the city of Cleveland is looking to take on. There's both littoral easements and then permanent land easements. So 6 littoral easements with the property owners there indicated with the red circle. The blue are the permanent littoral easements, essentially water easement. They're coordinated through for us submerged land lease. We need those. They're coordinated through our Department of Natural Resources.
It's another term for
It is, yes. It's granting us the ability to have an easement over their littoral rights, which is essentially their view sheds or the property owner's ability to develop a marine-based use. So like if they want to do a dock, for instance, or something like that. So you'll see here, and I can just take you real quickly through the property owners. On the far left, on the west side of the project, I mentioned Shore Acres Park. That's the first blue dot. Jack and Vicky Lozier, the working second from the left. Dorothy Puring, the third. Villa Beach is the fourth. Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District is the fifth there. That's kind of out in the lake. And then John Bond is the blue dot on the far right. We do have an upland easement too that we're working with the owner of the Euclid Beach apartment owners, Fairstead Housing out of New York, providing the public right of way for a kind of a cul-de-sac. It's not a stub street anymore. So, and then next slide, please. Timeline, I mentioned we are motivated to get this project bid and awarded. So where we stand today, we have 100% design documents. We are not quite yet finalized permits, but the hope is we have the last easement agreement to sign, and then we'll get those to ODNR. There's a kind of a formality with the Port Authority after 30 days where we need their blessing. But idea being in August sometime, we hope to have all the permits secured. The county will then go on to sell this project, and it will be about a year long. We're suggesting a year long, and possibly it could be 18 months with weather, depending on, we're trying to get in ground in January. So it depends on how the weather cooperates. There's also a period in the spring where there's a fish spawning season that we have to be cognizant of as well. So our hope is early 2027, this is complete and we have a groundbreaking for North Collinwood. So, and then I think Julian has more specifics on the easements. Thank you.
I hit the light.
Good morning, everyone. Julian Wilson, MoCap, Division of Real Estate. So this ordinance is seeking authority for the city to enter into agreements with the county for the construction and ongoing maintenance of the multi-purpose trail known as Euclid Beach Connector. Charlie already mentioned the easements that the county has negotiated with the property owners within the project area, as well as the temporary easement that the city will be granting the county for construction. But we are also seeking authority to amend our lease with Metro Parks for maintenance, as well as entering into submerged land leases with ODNR.
Got it. Commission members, any comments, question?
No.
Motion.
Madam Chair, I move to approve unnumbered ordinance as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Abstain.
Blythe.
Yes.
Motion carries. I will say this project is excellent. It is so cool and the design is extraordinary and the ripple effects of it and the set the bar and the ability to see that this could connect even farther. It is stellar stuff. And so I'm just so impressed and it's pretty quick timeline from beginning to end also, which is impressive. And so thank you both and thank the whole team. And today was a good day at the Planning Commission. We saw a lot of good projects today.
Also the transformation of Rob Maybach.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't go viral somehow online. Anyway, you missed it. Are we here for that? Okay, so thank you. Okay, so if you don't mind, so I will vote on all but abstain from number 9, which is Irishtown Bend. But please take a look at all of them and then we'll need one motion.
I will move approval of the administrative approvals.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll.
Anthony,
Yes.
Fluker,
Yes.
Curry,
Yes, except number 9, I abstain.
and Slate.
Yes.
Motion carries. We are done, except we're going to ask Marka if there's anything we would like to talk about.
Yeah, just one thing that we want to mention is that Camilla, who has been with us for about a year as as our fellow, is her last day is next Friday. So this will be her last commission meeting with us. So just want to thank her
she
for her
going?
service. Well, her fellowship is ending,
But
so
you
I'm
know
not
where-
sure
but I mean, you know
where.
where she's landing.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where she's going from here.
She's going to
Evelyn
law
might.
school, North
Oh, she-
Carolina.
You know what? That's right.
Congratulations
Yeah.
to her. Do you know where? UNC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome. All right, well, thank you. So as I said, I am not here, next week. August will be, chairing. I'm sure you'll have a robust agenda. We will need to ensure early that we'll have a quorum, just in case. So thank you guys, and thanks for your stellar attendance. You guys are great. So thank you. Have a good weekend.